the idea in mainstream culture that once you clock out of your job, then you get to be free and to enjoy time, it's an illusion because what you do with that free time is to engage in products and services that either reproduce the workplace from an economic perspective, meaning they take your money and put it back into your employer, or ideologically they do so. You get out of your classes in politics, and then you go to the cinema and you think you're watching Barbie and you think you're escaping from politics, right? But then at the end of the film, if you have any ability for self-reflection, you'll realize that you haven't. You just have gone through politics in a different way, in the entertainment way. And it's the same with the polyglot industry. You think that you're no longer working, but then you're learning languages based on flags and from a standard language ideology perspective, and you're just reproducing the same colonial and neoliberal rationality that is at the heart of the workplace. So there is no such thing as fun, I would say.
You pose as structuralists. You're so boring. My goodness, no fun.
No fun. No fun. Fun is just another name for boring.
Look, two things.
Yeah.
The first one, I think it's very important, is the whole gamification thing.
Right.
You know, I'm yet to write an article about that, how gamification has made us completely stupid and completely out of distracted for what the education actually is. Like, if you want to, I mean, I understand that you want to make things as nice and enjoyable as possible. Like, I'm not against fun, but gamification is all over the place. It's taking the place of other values. Well, historians will tell to what extent they were more prominent back in the day, but like it seems like we've forgotten about values such as being hardworking, pushing forward even when things get hard or difficult to learn, perseverance, right?
Yeah, and you know why I think that is the case? I think that is because we live in a different economy, right? We live in an attention economy, as theorized by Goldhaber in 1997 in an article that was incredibly foreshadowing. And then, if you read Tim Wu's book, Attention Merchants, that's what these language learning platforms are. They are attention merchants. They get your attention, then your data, and then resell it to somebody else. And Duolingo is not a solution to language learning, but a symptom of language learning within the ADHD type. That is itself the pinnacle of the attention economy, right? The fact that the span is ever more reduced, and then that means that the market is catered to that.
You see, so you proved me to be moralizing there. You see, so I was talking about the values when probably from a material angle, materialist, historical materialism sort of angle, you could explain that, right? Nowadays, back in the day, why people studied hard the books they had because those were the ones they had. They didn't have TikTok to get distracted.
Right, exactly. It's not because they were morally superior or holier than
so that's why I was talking about historians. I'm sure from a historical perspective, but so yeah, probably we haven't changed that much. It's the environment. Nowadays we are too distracted. Things seem to go too fast for us to assimilate, too fast for us to, take some time to actually go deep into a particular topic. Also too many options, right? So too many options, things go too fast, and yeah, we lack orientation, we lack that guidance. So, and yeah, of course, because we are so distracted, and there are so many options, then gamification sort of, so now I'm having trouble finding the connection there, right? Like, so what we just said is true. So how does gamification play into that?
So the connection is that gamification just capitalizes on the fact that we no longer seem able to focus on a task, in this case, language learning for a protracted period of time.
It's a
So because we
crutch.
have that inability, the best thing we can do is to jump
Hmm.
from flashy exercise to flashy exercise.
Hmm.
And the way to keep our attention is to make it quote unquote fun. And if it's no longer fun, just drop it. There's nothing wrong. It's okay to fail. If it wasn't fun, it's not your fault. It just wasn't fun.
Well, then maybe I'm gonna moralize again. You see, so maybe there's actually, okay, influenced by these historical changes, but there's also philosophy that goes together, that goes along saying that you have to take part into this sort of accelerated economy, and just don't, mm, yeah, don't only pursue pleasure. It's sort of like a hedonistic injunction there.
There is a chemical component, I think that neurolinguistics could be a very important angle here when it comes to making sense of gamification, right? There is a
Mm.
dopamine hit that comes with the
Sure.
over stimuli that
Mm.
are intrinsic to gamification, right? It's just getting
It's
your
more
attention
addictive.
from a
Okay.
stimulus to stimulus.
I mean, it's addictive the same way sex is addictive, the same way cocaine's addictive. Many things are addictive, but and we can argue that people are falling, are falling prey of these reward systems, but at the
Mhm.
same time, for the longest time, we've been controlling people through culture and through values and philosophy. What kind of society are we that we have normalized falling prey of these sort of these addictions, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could say, I think, playing devil's advocate, right? You could say, okay,
Mm,
look, gamification tackles the micro element of language learning. And yes, that might be banal, just jumping from game to game, stimulus to
mm,
stimulus. But that micro ties into a macro level, which is that of acquiring a lifestyle. And
mm,
if playing games can allow me to acquire a language which can afford me more
mm.
traveling and job opportunities, etc., then all of a sudden that which looked irrelevant from a micro perspective makes sense from a macro perspective, which I think is illusory. I think it's an illusion. I don't
So
think
the
that you can
addiction
you
could, in the long run, become an actual method of learning.
but I don't my point is that I don't think that you can get to the experience of acquiring languages and living
Yeah,
life as a cosmopolitan citizen by playing games.
yeah,
That's what I think the pipe dream is, right? So we,
yeah,
we live
sure.
in cynical times where we want to have it both ways. We want to have it fun and not much effort, and at the same time produce life-changing results.
I mean, and I don't have the answers, right? It's good that we are sort of throwing ideas at each other and trying to figure it out. So, I mean, people who actually, value intellect and pursue it, I think they find the process of learning fun in itself. And
Mhm.
maybe that's what differentiates people who actually, are intelligent and want to become intelligent to people who just, want to have fun. They like the idea of developing skills, but they will never actually put the effort to acquire them, right? So I always sort of come back to the basic distinction between intelligent and dumb people. And
Mhm.
it's very elitist, whatever, but everything seems to end up uh, going back to this uh, sort of dichotomy, it seems to me. Like, for example, Duolingo. Duolingo is a chimera, right? It's basically a magic bullet that's telling you that if you play, you're gonna learn.
Mhm.
You really believe people who use Duolingo think they are learning? Like, how stupid do you have to be to think that gaining stars in a game equals learning? At some point, they have to be
Mhm.
aware of how
Right.
stupid that is. Or if they don't, what are our, what are we supposed to think of them, right?
Yeah, I think that there are stupid people in the world, which we can call zombie glots in the case of polyglossia.
Okay.
But in
Looking
addition to
for a
that,
brain.
in
Okay.
addition to that, I also think that it comes down to whether you're passionate about languages or not. I think if it's what you said, right? If learning languages is its own reward, then you never need motivation in the first place. And vice versa. If you need motivation, such as the name gamification already implies, it implies that there is something that is not very much fun, so that
Yeah.
you make it fun via games, right? That is an extrinsic form of motivation. If you
Mm,
always need an extrinsic form of motivation, then you're not passionate about that which you're learning by
mm,
definition. So you're going to give it up anyway.
sure. No, I mean, and that's true. Maybe the dichotomy is not between, I mean, colloquially, I say, dumb and intelligent people. Maybe the right way to put it, people who's passionate about learning and people who are just not passionate, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah. Mhm.
there's a difference between liking languages and liking the process of learning languages, or maybe if you don't like them, like the process, like you're willing to
Yeah.
put in the effort, right? Because you
Exactly. I mean,
value the end
yeah,
result.
it's a difference between discipline and motivation, right? Discipline is just
Mm.
falling in love with the process required to achieve that goal, right? So you have discipline, you never need motivation. But if you need motivation, it means you don't have discipline. Right? So
I mean, you don't have discipline, and do you really like it?
right, you don't,
Are,
because otherwise you will have it, right?
don't.
Yeah.
I really like music, right?
Hmm.
I like, I used to play guitar, and I will uh, look at these people on Instagram, or the classics, play guitar, and I realize how they are geniuses, right? They are amazing, but I know how hard it is to get there, and sometimes then a polyglot or being a great musician is the result of an entire life of dedication.
Yeah.
I like music, but I'm not willing to commit my life to achieving that high standard, right?
Right.
And people need to, maybe become more aware of who they are. Are they the kind of people who will spend years studying a language? Or are they the kind of people who just want to nonchalantly play on their phones?
Yeah, and it's incredible the lack of self-awareness, which you're rightly to put
Surprises me, right?
you're right to point out as a crucial factor. I even have a Latino 21, my own company for Learn Latino, right? I have clients literally who
Mm.
have paid reasonable amounts of money
Mm.
for a course on Ladino.
Mm.
And I know for a fact that they didn't click on it, let alone download it. A paid service.
Well,
We're
they're
talking about a
paying for
paid
it.
service.
They are paying for it. They are putting the effort, right?
You send the money, and that already made you feel at peace with your language learning efforts. Say, okay, I did something today to learn the language. Maybe I didn't look at the content, but I paid the money. I invested.
Yeah, it's like basically the idea that you can, okay, if you want to be, let's say, if you want to be a polyglot, you you need to live like a polyglot. If you want to be an intellectual, you have to live like an intellectual. If you want to be a musician, you have to live like a musician. And that implies dedicating your entire day, your entire life to that. And people think they can buy that. They can buy it, like they can buy a course, and that will just be enough for them to be part
Right.
of the lifestyle. But it doesn't work like that.
Right. So the title is You Don't Play Languages.
You don't play languages.
You live them. Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, it's I guess what I call stupidity is just mediocrity plus lack of self-awareness. Because
Right.
I don't care if they just like playing video games. I mean, ideally they would pursue things that I value more, like knowledge, whatever. But okay, if they want to have fun, but why do you want to put on this veneer of learning on top of that
Right.
that fun? Are you trying to maybe cover up the fact that you're just wasting time? There could be a little bit
Right.
of that
Yeah.
also.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that.
Shame.
Yeah. there is that. So the truth is too hard to admit. So you would just rather create a rationalization out of it and say, no, I'm actually just learning it the fun way, which is also the most expedient one according to the ad
Mm.
that I just consumed.
People lie to themselves all the time,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
when people lie to them, when there's a critical mass of people lying to themselves, there's people who are going to capitalize on that. Maybe that's a good segue into why do we hate those language grifters.
Language scripters is a good label. Language hustlers would also be a good label. So if this is a grift, if this is a hustle, do
Hmm.
you think that there'll be a time when the same people that jumped on it when it became trendy would disappear from the polyglot industry and maybe move to an entirely different industry? Has
Because
nothing to do with language
it's
learning.
no longer profitable for them, so they just move on to doing something else. You mean?
Yes, do you know cases of people who have done that
I know
transition?
one case,
Hmm.
but it's kind of crazy. There's this guy back in the day. I would watch his YouTube channel, and he talked about learning Arabic, right? So he would travel to different Arab countries, and he would record himself speaking, being able to get by in Arabic. Nothing
Hmm.
too extraordinary, but some time ago, I went back to his YouTube channel because now
Hmm.
I'm working hard on my Arabic. So I went back
Which
and
makes two of us. MSA?
yeah, no, I'm starting Levantine,
Okay. Okay.
but it's
Well,
quite similar.
Dr. Jones is also studying Levantine. He did a
Oh
live
yeah,
yesterday about like his Arabic learning.
yeah, right. I'm very happy because right now at a sort of between B1, B2,
Hmm.
sort of intermediate.
That's when you start enjoying the
Let's see.
process, like when you can already communicate a good amount of.
Yeah, I can get by. Maybe the listening could improve a little bit, and now it's just a matter of uh, learning a lot of vocabulary because our Amnia, like the spoken Arabic, is like very, very grammatically is pretty straightforward. So
Mhm.
now I just need to practice a lot. And as I was saying, like I went back to his channel, and for the last year or two, all he has been posting are videos about Bitcoin, and
Mm.
and it's like I don't know what kind of, I mean,
Well, I can see the connection. You see the connection. Like I was talking just
I just think he's stupid, but what connection do you
uh,
see?
I was talking to Usman about a chapter I wrote on NFTs just last
Okay,
week,
I've heard about that. Yeah.
and we were talking about the parallels between the crypto and NFT market and language learning. And
Okay.
it's just a new grift which is based on dopamine, which is much more profitable than that of learning languages, right? So if you're
Okay.
looking for a
Good.
quick money scheme, then certainly the crypto is a much more efficient way than language learning, right? So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. I guess everything, all what we are talking about, all goes back to this sort of short-term, hedonistic sort of approach to learning and by extension to life. Mm,
but it's also the thrill of gambling, right? You
gambling.
when you start learning a new language, you're placing a bet on the return that you hope to get from that
Hmm.
investment. No?
But you see, even if you thought of it as gambling, which is a gamble, right? We learn stuff, yeah, because we like them, but with the assumption that at some point what we learn will be useful in some way, either to us or to others, and that's a gamble. Sometimes you study something or you specialize in something and thinking you can improve things, help people, help even yourself improve in life, and
Mm,
you don't and you fail, right? And you fail. So that can happen. However, even if you even if, not you, but if those people think of learning as a gamble and they enjoy it because of that, what are they gambling? Uh, What are they gambling? They are because they are not. They are just playing. They're watching anime. I'm not watching anime. I'm studying Japanese. Yeah, sure. I'm I'm studying Korean. No, you're just horny because you like Korean pop singers. Like the content they consume is so
Shallow.
superficial that that's not a gamble. You are just playing with the language while consuming content. You are a consumer.
Right.
You're not
So
an
yeah,
intellectual because you could learn
yeah,
languages to
yeah.
expand your mind, but these people are not expanding their minds.
Right. Yeah. So it's a gamble in the sense of Las Vegas gamble rather than a stock exchange research development.
People who are deep make things deep. People who are shallow make things shallow. And
Mhm.
these people, they are learning languages to consume content in them.
Right. Right. Yeah.
They are just they are
yeah,
just consuming content online.
yeah.
It's not deep. So right, so when the bar is set so low, yeah, of course, go ahead, play, have fun, consume content.